Hello everyone, the MLG Skylander Man 360 here today, and today we are reacting to Kazuya versus Wesker. My history with these two characters are kinda slim or a little small, but for Kazuya, like for instance, he was in Smash Brothers Ultimate, or we can even go so far as I have played Tekken 5, and the history that I do know about him is that he's the son of Heihachi and the father to Jin Kazuma. Now, that's more or less, he also possessed the devil gene, which is basically like the idea he has demon powers, and it also has to pass on to his son. His father hates it for him, hates it that his son has this gene. And the one thing I learned is his father tossed him off a cliff. Like, what the hell, as a baby? I was like, Jesus Christ. Of course, with Wesker, this is a little interesting. Now, I know he is in Dead by Daylight as a result of a character. Another instance with Wesker that I've known of is he injected himself with a virus in which that causes him to have like agility of speed and mass strength and skill. I mean, it also mutates the body of the person. So it's really interesting that Albert has these abilities in comparison. And ooh, that was a strike. Hello. But anyway, guys, without any further ado, let us begin the reaction.
Mishima, the cold-blooded devil from Tekken, and Albert Wesker, the villainous bioterrorist from Resident Evil. These two had mastered the concept of power itself. Today we're putting them against each other. I'm Aqua and he's Dormanos, and welcome to the realm of the gods.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this is made by Aqua. My bad.
Born as the son of the world-famous Heihachi, Kazuya Mishima had a rough upbringing.
Oh.
貴様のせいで母さんは
Heihachi was abusive to young Kazuya, who was considered weak and frail to fight back, well, at least until he was taken care of by his grandfather, Jinpachi. However, this protection did not last long, as Heihachi's got a devil gene within his lineage. Due to this, he killed his wife and then threw Kazuya off a cliff. However, Kazuya survived the fall, gaining a massive hatred for his father. He trained for years in the Mishima fighting style.
Man,
the Mishima fighting style is picked up the Goju Ryu, which focuses on the low falls and open hand attacks, such as chops and hammer fist attacks.
Yep,
With this type of training, Kazuya can use two specific uppercuts, the rising uppercut and the dragon uppercut, which can send opponents flying into the air. Damn. And if that's not enough, Kazuya can perform a flush punch combo, which is two jabs and a right punch, but can knock out their opponents. Lastly, some other moves include the Demon Slayer, which is a constant string of jabs, a backhand spin, split kicks, and the Tsunami Kick, which is a rising front kick and axe combo. After killing his father, Kazuya took his complete the Mishima Zabustu and turned it into more through his organization. Literally, look at the crime list, dude. Like, attempted genocide, terrorism, smuggling, crimes against humanity. This man was going crazy with this company. However, Kazuya wasn't completely hopeless. He met Jun Kazuma, who had his son Jin, and things were looking up for Kazuya. Until the devil gene started transforming him, and Heihachi threw him into a volcano. Jesus, what is all the cliff throwing? Honestly, I kind of respect it. It's a cool way to go out. You want to test that? Kazuya was thought dead for years, until the G Corporation found his remains and brought him back to life. This is where he started to figure out how to master his devil powers. And then Heihachi kidnapped Jin. This invades Kazuya, who was taken over by his devil self, who merged with Kazuya, giving him mastery over his devil form. Kazuya's devil form gives him the ability to shoot lasers and fly. It also makes his skin purple and gives him 3 red eyes, alongside demonic wings. Kazuya's devil form includes the Devil Fist, which shocks the opponent as he phases through them, and the Heaven's Door, which involves Kazuya throwing his opponent high into the air and pushing them into the ground. Kazuya in his devil form is also very fast, being faster than light due to scaling to Heihachi and Jin, and is likely higher with his increased stats. Kazuya is also one of the best characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Strange how that works. He's mid-tier in Tekken 7, yet somehow he is top tier in a non-Tekken game, only beaten by the devil himself. So many zero deaths. So many low tiers dead. Kazuya is also immensely durable. He survived volcanic eruption and his battle with Shin Akuma, who caused the ground to erupt and shake. The weakness to Kazuya is actually pretty simple. He's weak to the Kazuma bloodline and the Archers of Sirius, due to their holy weapons of power. Taking back his company, Kazuya focused on his training and his plan to dominate the planet. If there's one devil you never want to cross, It's Kazuya Mishima.
戦いとは最後にどちらが立っているかそれだけだ
Albert Wesker was a heroic captain and a leader of STARS, an elite special force team, and one day that all
Resident
changed.
Evil 4 music.
Wesker and his fellow teammates, plus a
Hey.
few others, were called to the Arclay Mountains and searched for evidence in recent killings. However, all they discovered was a group of mutated zombies. This is when the STARS team entered the Spencer Mansion, which turned out to be the origin of the T-virus, a virus that causes test subjects in the mansion to become cannibalistic monsters. And who was the mastermind? None other than Wesker himself. Let's roll back to before the Spencer Mansion incident. Kids were taken by the Umbrella Corporation to perform an experiment to create perfect soldiers injected with the progenitor virus.
Alright.
All of these kids
I knew
were
it was a
named
virus,
Wesker, and only 2 survived, one of which being Albert Wesker. All this time, Wesker was part of the Umbrella and took part in the T-virus himself, creating the monsters in the mansion. And all this time, he hated STARS and planned to be destroyed during the incident. Until he awakened the tyrant who killed him immediately.
Oh.
Alright, with our opponent set, let's... However, Wesker didn't die. The virus that was within him had awakened and healed him, and he escaped the mansion after a tussle with one of his experiments, Lisa Trevor. This is when the Raccoon City incident hit, in which some of the T-virus ended up in the city, quickly sending the city to madness. A few months later, Wesker started a raid on Rockford Island in search of data and bioweapon samples. At the same time, he had discovered Chris and Claire Redfield were in Antarctica. He took Claire hostage and had a battle with Chris, in which his powers had become massive. He was only defeated after Chris burned his skin. Wesker fled back into the shadows as Chris and Claire escaped. And this was not all for Albert Wesker. He began a whole bunch of shenanigans. He discovered his actual origins and then killed Oswald. He kidnapped Joe Valentine, and he began his biggest project yet, Ouroboros. Ouroboros was a virus that turned people into superhumans. Wesker planned to one day unleash this virus,
Okay, yeah, it's like...
until Chris Redfield showed up. So every time Chris shows up, Wesker is also there. These motherfuckers gotta be zesty. They are fruity for sure, right, Leon? No. Chris and his new partner Shiva were deployed after suspect bioweapons associated with violence that destroyed Ouroboros. Well, they met with Wesker in the cabin and tried to flee. Wesker fled to his stealth bomber, where Chris shortly arrived. The two battled before Wesker and him both fell down into a volcano. Seeing no way out of his situation, and with Ouroboros destroyed, Wesker infected himself with the last remaining samples of Ouroboros. They had this huge final battle, but it really meant nothing as Wesker fell into the volcano and incinerated right before them. Jesus, what is with the volcanoes this episode? I'm just surprised he actually died after this. The dude always had a backup plan. After that exhausting long story, let's get into Wesker powers. Wesker, having been injected with numerous viruses, was immune to most diseases and pathogens. He had superhuman strength and senses. He was partially immune to high temperatures. Hell, he had the ability to run so fast it looked like he was teleporting. Wesker is also incredibly fast. He can dodge and catch rockets in air and escape literal explosions. Wesker can also scale to Chris, who can casually punch boulders, and he upscales El Gigante, who could smash boulders apart. Wesker is also incredibly smart. He's capable of making bioweapons after all. Even though Wesker is incredibly strong, he's still very arrogant and must keep a consistent dose of his progenitor virus to keep his powers. Wesker was an incredible foe and died as an egotistical maniac, hell-bent on worldwide domination.
Alright.
It's over, Wesker! Over. Just getting started.
With our gods set, let's end this debate once and for all.
You will not live to see the dawn.
まさかと思ったが
7 minutes is all I could spare to play with you.
Fight!
Oh. Oh.
Playtime is over.
Yep.
貴様か
You've really become quite an inconvenience for me.
ここで死ね
I'm just getting started.
Alright, well. Oh. Yep. Dang.
You're merely
He's about to
postponing
get.
the
He's about to
inevitable.
out there double gin. God. Oh.
I
How many rocket
expected
kicks
more of a
Kazuya
challenge.
take?
I tire of wasting my time with you.
話にならんな。
Dang. Good, I was gonna use the double gin for a second.
Holy shit. Guess Wesker didn't have the devil in him to beat Kazuya.
Wesker was an incredible fighter, but it did nothing impressive Kazuya. First off, Kazuya is definitely stronger due to his fight with Shinakuma, which caused a volcanic eruption.
Kazuya was also more skilled than Wesker, having a more variety of actual fighting styles, plus he was definitely more durable. He survived that volcanic eruption after all.
While Wesker still died in his battle with Chris, he was only slightly immune to the high temperatures.
Kazuya could also take much more damage in this fight, since he has taken much more damage from other opponents, like his father, during a volcanic eruption.
I think good enough for you. It is heavily implied in Tekken 7 that Kazuya survived his battle with Akuma, which put Kazuya at about multi-continent level. And while having multiple steel grinders spawn on you is impressive, that would only make Wesker at a larger building level, nowhere near Kazuya's durability level.
Now, you may be thinking, but couldn't Wesker just infect Kazuya with Ouroboros?
Most certainly, if we could execute off Kazuya, who was faster than laser beams, while Wesker was only hypersonic at most, being able to dodge bullets.
Let's also keep in mind how different their opponents are. Kazuya has fought other masters of martial arts who also have powers, while Wesker typically fights people with guns and rockets.
That's fair.
Very clear difference in their experience.
Wesker also has no ways of getting his hands on the chains that can neutralize the devil gene, since those are only together to the Kazuya bloodline. And Wesker doesn't have any holy powers to damage Kazuya with.
However, Wesker needing to keep a special serum to keep his superpowers going is a much bigger weakness in general, and that would leave him open for free damage by Kazuya or the serum getting broken, which would make him stand no chance in this fight.
It was only a matter of time before Kazuya landed a finishing blow before Wesker could infect him.
The winner is Kazuya Mishima.
Alright.
Things are getting very interesting indeed.
Ooh.
Nakamura. I distinctly remember saying no guns discharging in the classroom.
Alright.
Back row, young lady. Think about what you've done.
Yeah. I have to admit that I almost really thought they might have given him the devil gene just because. But when you actually put it in a way, yeah. He wouldn't have. See, Wesker only has fought people with guns, and when I play Tekken, Mishima has fought against characters who had like actual powers. So, yeah, I can see that. He has fought Akuma, and that guy's. Yep. Anyway, guys, please go subscribe to Aqua. These are actually kind of unique. As I said, this kind of matchup is interesting on a debate level just because you can find powers that don't even make sense and just work with them. Like, for instance, as I said, that Devil Gene versus a virus. Yeah, Devil Gene wins because the fact that the fighter, Kazuya, basically, is more used into martial arts than it is in a scale battle. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that reaction. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Later.